在星期六，文茜的世界周报，我们在报道马克宏报道欧洲国家对这一次俄乌战争的看法的时刻，我特别提到了梅克尔在卸任之前已经意识到了俄乌可能会发生战争，而且他认为乌克兰完全是在不知情跟错估形势的情况里头加入北约，不了解问题的严重性。梅克尔是唯一吗？不，在西方，特别是美国自己，早就有很多了解这个地区地缘政治的政治思想家，被称为现实主义大师的 Chicago 一位政治学的教授，他的全名呢叫做 Mills Hammer。2015年6月的时候，在 Chicago 举办了一场著名的讲座。他当时直接的说法是，整个乌克兰这个国家陷入如此的崩解跟危机是西方的错。他谈的不是这一次俄乌战争，他谈的是2014年那一场革命。他认为乌克兰应该追求他经济的壮大，而且让他内部的不同族群、不同语言、不同信仰的人彼此尊重，这个国家才能够团结起来。他同时在俄罗斯的旁边，这样一个拥有1000枚核子武器的国家，他本来就要了解如何跟这样的一个1000枚核子武器的国家相处，所以他本来就应该成为缓冲区跟中立化。但是乌克兰却被西方策动，他所指的西方主要的是美国。我们来看这位著名的现实主义大师Mills Hammer 他的演说，以及来回顾他所说的2014年当那一次关键性的乌克兰的分裂，以及发展到今天不幸的战争。
The Putin much of Russia loves appeared on stage today at Moscow's National Stadium, just as his latest missiles appeared at a residential block in Kyiv. In Moscow, the Z painted on those Russian tanks in Ukraine became the decoration of choice to mark 8 years since the war began with the annexation of Crimea. And in Kyiv, they took 19 people to hospital and put out the fires. In Russia, flipping the channel always brought you the same message.
И лучшим подтверждением тому является то, как воюют, как действуют наши ребята в ходе этой военной операции. Плечо плечом. Помогают, поддерживают друг друга. А если надо, то как родного брата прикрывают своим телом от пули на поле боя. Такого единения у нас давно не было.
如果不是这场战争，我们或许无法深刻感受到敌对阵营之间要相互了解，甚或是彼此对话，究竟有多困难。
What is the end game? Is it to occupy Ukraine? Can you actually do it with the number of troops that you have? Do you really think that even if you win a battle here or there, that you can win a long war?
Occupation is not among the aims of the operation that were stated.
And they're wondering whether the president is getting very angry with the Ukrainians. They're wondering whether there's a sort of a punishment against the Ukrainians being leveled.
No, he's not angry with Ukrainians. And no one here in Russia is angry with Ukrainians. He's angry with those people in Ukraine who want to be part of NATO and who want to deploy American nuclear missiles on their territory. And he is angry with those people in Ukraine who forbids people to speak Russian in their country.
Could I quickly ask you, though, I need to ask you this because the world is afraid, and I want to know whether Putin intends the world to be afraid of the nuclear option. Would he use it?
President Putin intends to make the world listen to and understand our concerns. We've been trying to convey our concerns to the world, to Europe, to the United States, for a couple of decades, but no one would listen to us. And before it is too late, it was a decision to launch a special military operation, to get rid of entire Russia that was created next to our border.
Can you tell me that he would never use a nuclear weapon?
President Putin was not the one who ruined Minsk Accords.
Okay.
That was Ukrainian side. This is number one. Number two, Ukrainian, after the collapse of the Soviet Union, handed in all the nuclear weapons to the Russian Federation. But unfortunately, in the year of 2022, just a couple of months ago, in Munich conference, President Zelensky started to speak about possibility of generating a nuclear arms on the territory of Ukraine.
So you are basically saying only an existential threat to your country. I still don't know whether I've got a full answer from you, and I'm just going to assume that President Putin wants to scare the world and keep the world on tenterhooks. What about chemical and biological weapons?
And when it comes to biological and chemical weapons, we don't have these weapons anymore. In the year of 2017, if I'm not mistaken, it was destroyed completely in accordance with international agreements.
即使是 CNN 资深国际新闻主播和克里姆林宫发言人的1对1专访，双方间的对话也没有交集，甚至夹杂着情绪和评论。更何况大国间的长期对峙背后藏有多少利益算计？这或许是为什么一场2015年6月在芝加哥大学举办的讲座近期备受关注。因为讲者明白点出为什么乌克兰危机是西方的错，如今听来如暮鼓晨钟。
I believe the policy that I'm advocating, which is neutralizing Ukraine and then building it up economically and getting it out of the competition between Russia on one side and NATO on the other side, is the best thing that could happen to the Ukrainians. What we're doing is encouraging the Ukrainians to play tough with the Russians. We're encouraging the Ukrainians to think that they will ultimately become part of the West, because we will ultimately defeat Putin and we will ultimately get our way. Time is on our side. And of course, the Ukrainians are playing along with this, and the Ukrainians are almost completely unwilling to compromise with the Russians and instead want to pursue a hardline policy. Well, as I said to you before, if they do that, the end result is that their country is going to be wrecked.
主讲者是全球最著名的现实主义大师米尔斯海默。2003年反对伊拉克战争的主要人物之一，同时也是1994年极少数反对乌克兰放弃核武的人。早在2015年的这场演说中，他便直言，美国核心战略利益的优先顺序，在中国崛起之后，已经从原先欧洲、东北亚、波斯湾转向成亚洲居首、欧洲最末。但他们对欧洲安全的思考，仍是希望能和欧洲盟友携手，将乌克兰从苏联轨道上剥离。于是先后发动了北约扩张、欧盟扩张，并策动了橙色革命。目的就在于透过推动民主，并用经济发展诱惑乌克兰向西方靠拢。但普丁坚持乌克兰只能做一个缓冲国家，胆敢敲打北约大门，最后就只有玉石俱焚的下场。
This is a competition between economic considerations and security considerations. The basic mindset of people in the West is that you can punish the Russians economically and they'll throw their hands up. My argument is when security considerations are at stake, when core strategic interests are at stake, and there's no question, ladies and gentlemen, in Russia's case, this is a core strategic interest, countries will suffer enormously before they throw their hands up, right? So you can inflict a lot of pain on the Russians, and they're not going to quit. And they're not going to quit because Ukraine matters to them. And by the way, Ukraine doesn't matter to us.
他毫不讳言，美国在成为世界独强后，经常做出一些愚蠢的决策，诸如阿富汗、伊拉克和利比亚战争，都是把别人的国家弄得一团糟。虽然在中国崛起之后， 一个面临严重威胁的市局，确实迫使美国做出较多有策略性的决定。但问题出在，美国人根本不在乎俄乌间错综复杂的历史背景，而德国也不够强势，挡下美国拉拢乌克兰的念头。
Let's assume that we're playing a winning hand and that we are capable of backing Putin into a corner. And we're getting close to pushing him off a cliff. Is this good? You're talking about a country that's got thousands of nuclear weapons. And the only circumstance, really, under which states use nuclear weapons is when they're desperate, when they think their survival is at stake. So what you're talking about is putting Putin in a situation where he's desperate. You're willing to risk a possible nuclear war over a piece of real estate, Ukraine, that is not of vital strategic interest to the United States.
他呼吁北约明确放弃把手伸向乌克兰的想法，并与俄罗斯、国际货币基金组织和欧盟共同制定乌克兰经济救援计划，保障乌克兰少数民族权益，尤其是语言的权利，俄乌间的冲突才有可能落幕。因为一个新铁幕已经笼罩俄罗斯，西方世界不必期待普丁政权会因为这波反战浪潮遭到撼动。虽然年轻世代出现了部分出走潮，但最崇尚民族主义的冰雪战斗民族，面对铺天盖地的经济制裁压迫，只会更加团结。这是一个西方或许永远不了解，也不想了解的真实世界，但却在每一个关键时刻支持着那些独裁政权走到今天。